Hello everyone, so welcome to this new video on polity. So we are covering basically LAXMIKANTH book which is on Indian polity, written by M. LAXMIKANTH, and I have already done a few videos in the previous series that if you have not checked it, you must do, because I have already created a separate playlist for the same. Now the thing here is that due to some reasons, and what some reasons, actually you already know that I have been making continuously the courses on environment and ecology. I did upload the Hindu one also, the other day, the previous day actually, that how to read the Hindu and make notes out of it. So that was really a time taking task, and I did it yesterday because most of you asked me to tell you that how can you proceed with reading the newspaper. Also, I have been taking quite many live sessions all this while, so therefore somehow I couldn't like make the polity video, and I'm very sorry for that. So from here on I will try to make the environment and the polity parallelly, so that there is not much gap between them. Okay, so we start with, and due to some reason you might not be able to see me on camera today, so excuse me for just this day. We have done till all the other acts in the previous videos, so we will have to start from features of the Act of 1909. And you already know that we were doing the Indian Councils Act, okay? So we have seen about 1861, 1892, and now we have to see about 1909, where I left last time. Now, since I am already using the PDF here, I am making the notes here in the limited space only. You will have to manage this issue for the first 3 chapters. Then you will have about preamble, in which I already have the online made notes, so that I'll be showing on the screen. And from uske baad jo lesson aayega, from another lesson onwards, which is on your union and its territory, then you have on citizenship, then you have on fundamental rights, etc. I will be properly covering the constitution as well as the LAXMIKANTH, so the way of taking the notes at that moment would be little different, but just like be with me for these 3 chapters, because I already have shown you the samples of the notes which I have, which cannot be uploaded, as you will not be able to understand it, and making the notes again and again of the same topic is very time consuming for me, and I cannot do it. So please understand, for the first 3 chapters we'll be studying from the book and making the notes alongside, and then as and when we do the other topics, we will be proceeding simultaneously. अगर आपको ये वीडियोस हेल्पफुल लग रहे हैं, सो प्लीज़ डू लाइक, कमेंट, शेयर एंड सब्सक्राइब टू द चैनल. आपको अगर शायद यहाँ पे तो पिक्चर नहीं आ रही, आई डोंट नो इफ़ यू विल बी गेटिंग द आइकॉन और नॉट. इफ़ यू आर गेटिंग द आइकॉन ऑन द स्क्रीन, please do hit on that and you will be able to subscribe directly. Otherwise also you can just check it from the channel के description में there are certain links which will help you reach out to me on any other social media platform, be it Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Anan Academy, or even my Telegram channel. इस वीडियो के डिस्क्रिप्शन लिंक में आपको वो सारे वीडियोस भी मिल जाएंगे जो आज तक क्रिएट हुए हैं, उनकी प्लेलिस्ट के लिंक्स, ठीक है. सो let's start with the Act of 1909 and we will see the important features. So the first, so I'll delete the one that I had written the last time, so that we can easily do because I have limited space here, so we have to utilize it to our best. And we start with 1909. Now this act is also known as Morley-Minto reforms. Minto reform. So if you do not have your book alongside, or if you do not have the notebook alongside, you will not be benefited much from this video, so please have them. Morley is, or you can say like the Lord Morley, or the name of the reform was Morley-Minto reform. But who was this person? Lord Morley was the Secretary of State, and we already know about this position, we have read a lot about it. Then you have Lord Minto, who was the Viceroy, then of course the then a Viceroy. So you have to remember that whenever you see the name of certain acts like this, in the reform manner, like Morley-Minto reforms, then you will have for 1919 also, you will have Montague-Chelmsford reforms. So the thing here is that the first name you will be seeing is the Secretary of State, and the second name of the Lord you will be seeing will be the Viceroy of India at that particular time, or during that time. Okay, so we will see the features now. It considerably increased the size of the legislative councils, both the central and the provincial. So the first feature, so we will write the first feature here. Increase in size. किसके size में? Central Legislative Council and Provincial Legislative Council. The number of members in the Central Legislative Council were raised from 16 to 60. So you can write 16 say 60. The number of members in the Provincial Legislative Councils was not uniform. Not uniform. Okay, so this was the first feature. Second, of the act, of course, it retained official majority in the Central Legislative Council but allowed the Provincial Legislative Councils to have non-official majority. तो यहाँ पे क्या हो रहा है, जो Central Legislative Council है उसमें official majority रहेगी, ठीक है, जो officials थे, क्योंकि आपको पता है ना इंडियन की इंक्लूजन की बात हुई थी, फिर उनको नॉन ऑफिशियल पोस्ट पे डाला गया था, ये सारी हमने ऑलरेडी डिस्कस कर लिया है. सो सीएलसी में सेंट्रल लेजिस्लेटिव काउंसिल में ऑफिशियल मेजॉरिटी थी, लेकिन प्रोविंशियल लेजिस्लेटिव काउंसिल्स में नॉन ऑफिशियल मेजॉरिटी थी. नॉन ऑफिशियल मेजॉरिटी. I do not have the space, but if you had the space, you can also just include this point here also with the name of the council only. So it will just reduce your points also and it will help you in remembering the things better. Third is enlarge the deliberative functions of the legislative councils at both the levels. Okay. For example, members were allowed to ask supplementary questions, move resolutions on the budget and so on. Now in both these legislative councils, central and the provincial, what happened? जो deliberative functions थे, deliberative functions मतलब they have given these examples like asking the supplementary questions. So if अगर आपने parliament sessions देखा है, you know about the question answering thing there. अगर आपने देखा है तो if you have not done, we'll be seeing the parliament chapter anyways and we'll try to discuss the procedures that are happening in practical life also. मतलब practically जो होता है और live दिखाते हैं TV पर. So anyways, when the discussion used to happen, in legislative councils में, तो अगर कोई supplementary question पूछना है किसी को, एक सवाल पूछा फिर उस पर अगर आपको supplementary question पूछना है, that you can do there. मतलब उस टाइम पे allow हो गया 1919 में. Also resolutions अगर budget पे pass करना है, move करना है, वो भी allowed था, and certain other issues which were related to the deliberative functions of the legislative councils. So you can just write enlargement of deliberative functions of legislative council. Since you are not mentioning any particular legislative council, that is understood that it is including both the ones. If you have to remember that what kind of deliberative functions, so these are the points which if you want you can write here in bracket. I am not writing because it is given already. It provided for the first time for the association of Indians with the executive councils of the viceroy and governor. So for the first time a major change was introduced for the Indians and now they were allowed to get associated with the viceroy, executive council and also with the governors. ठीक है, तो Indians के लिए ये first time ऐसा major change आया था. First time Indians association with Viceroy, Executive Council and governors. And who was the first Indian to join the Viceroy's Executive Council? And he was appointed as the law member. So that person was Satyendra Prasad Sinha. Now this is very important point जो आपको यहाँ से short में मिल रहा है. Reverse आपको इसको लिखना चाहिए that who was that person और किस act से ये change आया. So you can just write first Indian to join Viceroy Executive Council as law member. So who was that first person? Satyendra Prasad Sinha. So that was another feature. Moving on to the next. It introduced a system of communal representation for Muslims by accepting the concept of separate electorate. This is a very very important theme or topic. Modern Indian history वालों ने already पढ़ा होगा. अगर आपको फिर भी नहीं समझ आया or if you have not done it, I'll be just telling you that. So just be a little patient. I'll be framing it in the least possible words so that you have the short and the crisp notes. As you can see, we are just summing up all the features of 1909 here in this area only, the blank area as you can see. So if you have the book, you can write also in that area. If you have your notebook, you can write there also. You will not have to revise the entire statement from the book again and again. And that is the purpose I am doing all this book yet again, for making the summary. You know, these books which are already considered as a summary itself. The only reason is to shorten it in the best possible manner. I don't know how much of you are getting benefited, and if you are, please do mention in the comment section. Please help me share the word and let more people know about it. Anyway, so last point second last point kya tha? About the accepting the concept of separate electorate. So separate electorate, और ये किन के लिए था? Muslims के लिए. So what happened here was communal representation for Muslims. अब ये separate electorate में what used to happen was, they are telling also, under this the Muslim members were to be elected only by the Muslim voters. So communal representation, that means representation for one particular community. What that community is here in this case? The community of the Muslims. And separate electorate मतलब वहाँ पे ठीक है voters और फिर वो आपका election हो रहा है वहाँ पे. But here what they are telling is that if there are Muslim members, they were only be elected by they elected only by the Muslim voters. Thus the act legalized communalism. जब आप finally इस चीज को publicly allow कर ही रहे हैं that there has to be only the members from one particular community to elect the members of that community, of course you are legalizing communalism. And Lord Minto came to be known as the father of communal electorate. So these are the points you need to remember. So what we will be writing, just give me time. So separate electorate, communal representation for Muslims, Muslim members to be elected only by Muslim voters, right? And some other important point from this particular you can say ये feature से हमें और क्या मिला? One is this one, legalizing communalism. So you can just write communalism legalized, and Lord Minto came to be as the father of communal electorate. So यहाँ पे reverse question क्या आ जाएगा? Who is called as the father of communal electorate? Lord Minto. So again, Lord Minto, you will have to remember that ये किस act से ये feature आया था? 1909 से आया था, और 1909 को मोरले मिंटो रिफॉर्म्स भी बोलते हैं. तो यहाँ से मिंटो एंड यहाँ से लॉर्ड मिंटो को कम्युनल रिप्रेजेंटेशन के लिए जाना जाता है, कम्युनल इलेक्टोरेट के लिए जाना जाता है. That is what you can remember. The last point or the last feature is it also provided for the separate representation of presidency corporations, chamber of commerce, universities and zamindars. So actually this is like exactly the whole line is important here. So I would just highlight this. You can exactly write the same thing. There is no point if I write it again, because it is like separate representation of presidency corporation, chamber of commerce, university and zamindar. ये पूरा का पूरा तो यहाँ आना ही आना है, ठीक है, क्योंकि वो एक separate provision है. So write the same thing, do, which is given here in the 6th point. Then you have next act, which is Government of India Act of 1919, which is also called as Montague-Chelmsford reforms, but we'll see a bit of background, which says that on August 20, 1917, the British government declared for the first time that its objective was the gradual introduction of responsible government in India. First of all, we'll see the footnote. So number 7. The declaration, about the one that we have just seen is कि हम कैसे बात करते हैं इसके बारे में, मतलब उन्होंने क्या बोला responsible government वगैरह के बारे में. The policy of His Majesty's government is that of the increasing association of Indians in every branch of the administration. How did they, kind of show that they wanted to have responsible government? Because they are telling that we are increasing the association of Indians in every branch of the administration. कौन सा administration? British का जो India में administration चल रहा था, Indians की उसमें हम ज़्यादा association कर रहे हैं. And the gradual development of self-government institutions. तो कुछ ऐसे institutions जो self-government की तरह काम करेंगे, उनका भी gradually development हो रहा है. So what was the view behind this, or what was the motive behind this? With a view to the progressive realization of responsible government in India as an integral part of the British Empire. So this is what they said, that we are trying to incorporate or associate more Indians in this administrative system, and that was kind of what the declaration had said. So we are done with this footnote also, and this happened, this happened in the year 1917. So now they had to come up with an act which would give certain features which would show to the public that yes, they are trying to have a responsible government. So therefore the Government of India Act of 1919 was enacted, and this came to force in 1921. So this is what you can remember, that for this act 1919 was the enactment year. These minute things you sometimes miss while studying polity or history, and then they come in the examination. So be very specific about it, especially if it is written very clearly in the discussion or here in the chapter. So 1919 was the enactment year, and then enforcement जो हुआ, it came into force. और enforcement year कौन सा था? Not this. Enforcement year for this act was 1921. Now, what is the another name of this act? So this act also came to be known as Montague-Chelmsford's reforms. So Montagu भी बहुत लोग बोलते हैं, Montague भी बहुत लोग बोलते हैं, depending on the pronunciation. So Chelmsford reforms, और इसको Montfort reforms भी बोलते हैं. Mont यहाँ से, Ford यहाँ से, ठीक है. And from the previous one, we already know that here the first name has to be the Secretary of State and the second name would be the Viceroy of India. So we know Secretary of State and this is the Viceroy. So ये आपने छोटा सा act के बारे में लिख लिया. Moving on to the features of the act. So we will be writing it here. We will try to shorten it here only. First is, it relaxed the central control over the provinces by demarcating and separating the central and provincial subjects. So first of all, what happened? Separation of central, ठीक है. सेंट्रल और प्रोविंशियल आपको समझ आता है ना, जो सेंटर से चल रहा है और प्रोविंसेस में हो रहा है. जैसे अभी आपके यूनियन लिस्ट के सब्जेक्ट्स हैं, देन यू हैव द स्टेट लिस्ट. सिमिलरली सेपरेशन ऑफ सेंट्रल एंड प्रोविंशियल सब्जेक्ट्स. So जब separation हो गया, which means of course that there is relaxation of the central control over the provinces, क्योंकि ये जो है उसका demarcation और separation हो गया. आप यहाँ चाहें तो demarcation भी लिख सकते हैं. I would actually write it here so that I save the space. Demarcation and separation of central and provincial subjects. तो वो relaxation थोड़ा कॉमन सेंस के हिसाब से खुद ही समझ आ जाता है. देन यू हैव द सेंट्रल एंड प्रोविंशियल लेजिस्लेचर्स वर ऑथोराइज्ड टू मेक लॉज ऑन देयर रेस्पेक्टिव लिस्ट ऑफ सब्जेक्ट्स. ठीक है. सो रिस्पेक्टिव, अब हम उसको अलग फीचर में ही लिख लेंगे बिकॉज एक ही बहुत बड़ा हो जाएगा. रिस्पेक्टिव लिस्ट्स, और यू कैन से रिस्पेक्टिव लॉज टू बी मेड by separate legislatures. Now you know दो ही तरह के legislatures उस टाइम की हम बात कर रहे थे, सेंट्रल एंड प्रोविंशियल, तो उन्हीं की हम बात कर रहे हैं. तो जो सब्जेक्ट्स होंगे उसमें जो लिस्ट होंगे उन पे वो खुद ही अपने अपने लॉ बनाएंगे. However, the structure of government continued to be centralized and unitary. So जो गवर्नमेंट का स्ट्रक्चर था वो सेंट्रलाइज्ड ही था, यूनिटरी गवर्नमेंट ही था, बट सब्जेक्ट्स इन्होंने अलग कर दिए थे. So the third can be still centralized and unitary structure of government. It further divided the provincial subjects into two parts, transferred and reserved. Then you can write division of provincial subjects. तो पहले तो central और provincial subjects were separated. Then within the provincial subjects also there was division into transferred subject and reserved subject. ठीक है. अब ये transferred और reserved क्या थे? I don't have much space there, so I'll try to fit it somewhere else. But आप उसको notes में इसके साथ साथ यहीं पे incorporate कर लेना. ठीक है. मेरे पास नहीं है ना, so that's why I am writing it somewhere else. So I'll try to write it here. Transferred subjects के बारे में I'll write here and reserved subjects के बारे में I'll write here. Please incorporate in the notes accordingly. Transferred subjects were to be administered by the governor. So first of all, administration has to be, or had to be happened by the governor with the aid of ministers responsible to the legislative council. Aid किसका आना था? Ministers of legislative council का आना था. Reserved subjects on the other hand were to be admin, और इसको आप ऐसा डिफरेंस की तरह एक टेबल छोटा सा बना करके भी लिख सकते हैं. Administered by the governor and his executive council. ठीक है. Without being responsible, so you can write not responsible, to legislative council. This dual scheme of governance was known as diarchy, और ये डायरेक्ट क्वेश्चन आ जाता है. ठीक है. So this is very important. इसको आप ऐसे ही हाईलाइट करो, ये आपको बस याद रखना है. ये जो डुअल सिस्टम था ट्रांसफर्ड सब्जेक्ट्स का और रिजर्व सब्जेक्ट्स का, इसी को बोलते हैं डायआर्की. इसका मतलब हुआ, ये ग्रीक वर्ड डायआर्क से आया, दैट इज स्टिल टू बी अवॉइडेड, बट द मीनिंग इज लाइक डायआर्की. अगर कोई पूछे कि इसका क्या मतलब था, सो इट हैज टू बी लाइक डिविजन इनटू दीज टू सब्जेक्ट्स, ट्रांसफर्ड एंड द रिजर्व सब्जेक्ट्स. ठीक है. एंड इट मीन्स डबल रूल. सो हियर दिस इज समथिंग आई वुड से कि इनकॉर्पोरेट हो जाना चाहिए. इसके आप एक्सप्लेनेशन जो है ट्रांसफर्ड एंड रिजर्व्ड के, that you can see from here, but we will be writing the important part. This is diarchy or double rule. ये बिल्कुल डायरेक्ट आता है इस क्वेश्चन. However, this experiment was largely unsuccessful. ठीक है, पढ़ लिया हमने. It introduced for the first time bicameralism and direct elections in the country. So again, another important feature is, so number 5th I'll write here, introduction to bicameralism. Introduction to bicameralism. And also what it said, direct elections in country. And direct elections in country. And direct elections. इतना ही लिखना sufficient है, country की तो हम बात कर ही रहे हैं. Thus, the Indian Legislative Council was replaced by a bicameral legislature. Bicameral आपको पता है ना, जहाँ 2 houses होते हैं, जैसे हमारे लोकसभा राज्यसभा है ना, 2 houses, upper and the lower house. So that was the thing. So now the Indian Legislative Council, जहाँ पे law बनेगा, that was replaced by bicameral legislature, जिसमें upper house होंगे and lower house होंगे. The majority of members of both the houses were chosen by direct election. So every point here in this particular feature is important. So we'll be writing that introduction to bicameralism and direct elections. बाईकैमरलिज्म के विद इन में हम लोग लिखेंगे कि जो लेजिस्लेटिव काउंसिल था, नाउ इट वाज डिवाइडेड इनटू, जैसे यहाँ पे इन्होंने लिखा है अपर हाउस एंड लोअर हाउस. सो यू हैव अपर हाउस काउंसिल ऑफ स्टेट्स एंड यू हैव द लोअर हाउस द लेजिस्लेटिव असेंबली. एंड व्हाट दे आर टेलिंग, that the majority of members of both the houses were chosen by direct election. So again handy बहुत आ जाएगा prelims में if they ask you कि यहाँ पे इनके members कैसे choose होते थे. So you can say majority members by direct election. ठीक है, क्योंकि बहुत जगह होता है ना कि election था, nomination था, direct था, indirect था. So these are smaller points which you need to remember, जो एक बार में बुक पढ़ के बिल्कुल आ ही नहीं सकती है. You will forget, you will get confused. Okay, next point. It required that the 3 of the 6 members of the Viceroy's Executive Council, other than the Commander-in-Chief, were to be Indian. So what was the requirement? That there has to be certain members who has to be Indian. And which members? 3 of the 6 members of Viceroy's Executive Council. 3 out of 6 members of Viceroy Executive Council had to be Indians, except Commander-in-Chief. ठीक है? Then it extended the principle of communal representation. In the previous act, we saw that this communal representation was for one community, and that was Muslim. But here, now this separate electorate and communal representation has been extended for 6 Indian Christians, Anglo-Indians and Europeans. So this you need to remember. And again there would be reverse question or reverse point in your note. First of all you will write that communal representation or separate electorate for Muslim by the Act of 1909. Then separate electorate for these communities, Sikhs, Indian Christians, Anglo Christians and Europeans by the Act of 1919. तो वो आप लिखेंगे, ठीक है. So we can just write separate electorate for किसके किसके है, Sikhs, Indian Christian. I'm not writing the full thing. This you can just see from here. I will be highlighting it. So 6 Indian Christians, Anglo Indians and Europeans. So मेरे पास space की कमी के वजह से I'm not writing. Just a second, it got hanged. Anglo Indians and then you have Europeans. Next is it granted franchise to the limited number of people on the basis of property, tax और education. ठीक है, franchise मतलब right to vote एक तरह से हो गया, मतलब आप elect करने के लिए, ठीक है. तो यहाँ पे क्या है कि it was not universally accepted. Like we today have universal adult franchise. Everybody who is an adult, ठीक है, एक particular age दिया गया, वो age क्या है, you have to write in the comment section. So anybody and everybody who is above that age is eligible to vote, ठीक है, irrespective of the caste, gender, place, etc. But here there were certain conditions put on people, those who were allowed to vote. And what was the condition? Property के basis पे division था, tax and education के basis पे. So the next pointer could be, short में लिखें तो, limited franchise on basis of property, tax and education. आपको अगर दिख रहा हो, आपको अगर पता नहीं रेलिवेंस आप लोगों को इस बात का समझ आ भी पाए रहा है या नहीं कि आपने कितने शॉर्ट में ये सारे फीचर्स लिखे हैं. तो इफ यू राइट लाइक दिस देयर इज नो वे दैट यू विल फॉरगेट. It created a new office of the High Commissioner for India in London and transferred to him some of the functions hitherto performed by the Secretary of State for India. तो एक नया ऑफिस क्रिएट हुआ. I do not have much space here, so I will be writing. ठीक है, यहाँ लिख देती हूँ मैं. इसके बाद से ना like मेरे पॉइंटर में ये 8th था, so 9th one I'll be writing from here. ठीक है. So new office created, and what was that new office? High Commissioner for India. कहाँ क्रिएट हुआ? लंदन में. और इनको क्या some of the functions were transferred which were earlier performed by Secretary of State. So this is something if you want you can write or you can just remember. Then it provided for the establishment of a public service commission. ठीक है. So establishment of public service commission. So 1926 में एक सेंट्रल पब्लिक सर्विस कमीशन आया सिविल सर्वेंट्स के रिक्रूटमेंट्स के लिए. We will also see what they have given in the footnotes. So they are giving this was done on the recommendation of the Lee Commission on Superior Civil Services in India. ठीक है. So अगर हम पूरा नहीं भी लिखते हैं, so we will just write कि recommendation, because if by chance they ever ask you that for the first time which commission had recommended for the establishment of public service commissions in India, ठीक है, यहाँ पे हम independent India की बात नहीं कर रहे हैं, just in general if they ask you, so you will be remembering recommendation of Lee Commission. You're not writing the full name, if you want you can check also, but ठीक है, अभी के लिए समझने के लिए और याद रखने के लिए that is sufficient. Then it separated for the first time provincial budgets from the central budget. Subjects तो अलग हुए, now even the budget are separated and authorized the provincial legislatures to enact their budgets. जैसे क्या हुआ था कि जब ये सब्जेक्ट्स अलग हुए थे, जब हमने ऊपर में देखा था, ठीक है, यहाँ पे हमने देखा था कि सेपरेशन ऑफ सब्जेक्ट्स हुए एंड देन रिस्पेक्टिव लॉज वर मेड बाय सेपरेट लेजिस्लेचर्स. सिमिलरली यहाँ इन्होंने बजट अलग कर दिया एंड नाउ रिस्पेक्टिव लेजिस्लेचर्स वर अलाउड. और मतलब जैसे सेंट्रल अपना सेंट्रल बजट देखेगा एंड प्रोविंशियल लेजिस्लेचर वुड बी सीइंग देयर ओन बजट. सो यू विल से फर्स्ट टाइम separation of central budget and provincial budget. and वो understood हो जाना चाहिए कि वही लोग अपना देखेंगे जैसे हमने पहले पढ़ा था. It provided for the appointment of a statutory commission to inquire into and report on its working after 10 years of its coming into force. एक statutory commission मतलब जो law से बन के आ रहा है, that commission has to inquire, ठीक है, and report on its own working after 10 years of its coming into force. जब भी वो कमीशन फोर्स में आएगा उसके 10 साल के बाद उनको एक रिपोर्ट देना होगा कि उन्होंने जो भी काम करा, रिपोर्ट, ठीक है, उनके वर्किंग का 10 years के बाद. सो यू कैन राइट अपॉइंटमेंट ऑफ अ स्टैट्यूटरी कमीशन. पूरा मैं नहीं लिख रही हूँ बिकॉज यू नो ये 10 years वाला चीज़, ये सब छोटी छोटी चीज़ें हैं जो आपको ऐसे भी पढ़ते पढ़ते याद हो जानी चाहिए. इफ़ यू आर नॉट रिमेंबरिंग यू कैन राइट इन ब्रैकेट द स्टैट्यूटरी ऑफ ए अपॉइंटमेंट ऑफ अ स्टैट्यूटरी कमीशन, और यू कैन से टू सबमिट रिपोर्ट. लिख ही देती हूँ. आफ्टर 10 years of coming into force. Anyways, now before we move on to this act which is very very relevant, which is Government of India Act of 1935, we quickly have to see a bit more about the events which happened in between, or the commissions, or you know these communal award. So we have to study about the Simon Commission and the Communal Award. Now I will be utilizing the leftover space, or I'll see what can be done, or I can just dictate and you can write the important points, ठीक है, as per the given here, or I'll highlight and you can only write it as pointers. Let's see how do we go ahead with that. So साइमन कमीशन आया बीच में, ठीक है. अभी हमने 1919 का एक्ट कर लिया विच वॉज इन्फोर्स्ड इन द ईयर 1921, एंड उसके बाद एक्ट करना है 1935. सो 1921 और 1935 के बीच में क्या हुआ, these two important things are to be studied. साइमन कमीशन. सो व्हाट हैपेंड इन नवंबर 1927 itself, मतलब 2 साल शेड्यूल के पहले, the British government announced the appointment of a 7-member statutory commission under the chairmanship of Sir John Simon to report on the condition of India under its new constitution. अब हमें पहले लिखना क्या क्या है इस चीज़ के बारे में. So I try जितना स्पेस है मैं लिखूँ, otherwise you will be writing. ठीक है. और if you I don't know if you have written or not, so you know how do I remove it. So I'm just keeping it on the screen for some time. You can take a screenshot, or you can you know pause and write also. So I will be removing it, or I will be just not removing. चलो थोड़ा सा कट पेस्ट करके इसको मैं थोड़ा सा भी ऊपर ऐसे शिफ्ट कर देती हूँ. So I'll be writing about Simon Commission here, right? So the first point in Simon Commission. So first of all, it was a 7-member statutory commission. So 7-member. You know these things will come handy in your history portion also. Ultimately you have to answer the MCQs in the same paper, so doesn't matter history और polity कहाँ से आ रहा है. 7-member statutory commission जिसके chairman कौन थे, Sir John Simon. Now what they ask in the MCQ is not only about the commission but the purpose of the commission. So the purpose was to report on the condition, or you can say India's condition, to report on India's condition under its constitution or new constitution. And when it was appointed, so here November 1927. So you can just write November 1927. Okay. All the members of the commission were British. So this is what is very important. All British members, ये जो सातों के सातों member हैं ये British थे, ठीक है. And therefore what happened, hence all the parties boycotted the commission. So that is obvious because Indian को representation नहीं मिल रहा था, and also you are talking about the condition of India under your constitution, and you are not giving representation to the Indians only. So therefore you know the parties boycotted. The commission submitted its report in 1930. So you can write 1930 report submitted. And recommended the abolition of diarchy, जो हमने पढ़ा भी, dual rule, transferred and the reserved subjects, extension of responsible government in the provinces, establishment of a federation of British India and princely states, continuation of communal electorate and so on. Now ये सारे provisions मैं लिखूंगी नहीं, so I'm just highlighting कि इनके जो recommend, if you don't want you cannot write because history में तो आप पढ़ ही रहे होंगे, so it's okay by chance if you are avoiding it writing, ठीक है. So report आया जहाँ पे इनके कुछ कुछ recommendations थे, तो you can just have your recommendations 1, 2, 3, 4 etc. ये सारे recommendations थे. To consider the proposals of the commission, the British government convened 3 round-table conferences of the representatives of the British government. तो British government के representative के लिए इसके बाद अब ये जो report इनकी आ गई, फिर इनके recommendations आ गए. Now, if these proposals, if these representations have to be accepted or not, for that there were 3 round-table conferences हेल्ड बाय द ब्रिटिश गवर्नमेंट, ठीक है, जिसमें इनके रिप्रेजेंटेटिव जाने थे, ब्रिटिश इंडिया एंड इंडियन प्रिंसली स्टेट्स के भी रिप्रेजेंटेटिव जाने थे. सो वी कैन राइट रिपोर्ट सबमिशन के बाद रिकमेंडेशंस आए. देन 3 राउंड टेबल कॉन्फ्रेंसेस, पर्पस टू you can say to consider proposals, और इस राउंड टेबल कॉन्फ्रेंसेस में रिप्रेजेंटेटिव किसके किसके जाने की बात हुई, मतलब इन्होंने जो बुलाया, कौन गए नहीं गए वो तो बात की बात है, जो बात थी कि रिप्रेजेंटेटिव ब्रिटिश गवर्नमेंट के, देन यू सी ब्रिटिश इंडिया के एंड प्रिंसली स्टेट्स के. I hope you are learning the art of making short notes. I really hope. तो ये राउंड टेबल कॉन्फ्रेंसेस की बात हुई. Now on the basis of these discussions, a white paper on constitutional reforms was prepared and submitted for the consideration of the Joint Select Committee of the British Parliament. The recommendations of this committee were incorporated in the next Government of India Act 1935 and certain changes were made. So what we can write is कि फिर राउंड टेबल कॉन्फ्रेंसेस हुए, यहाँ से जो भी डिस्कशंस हुए उसमें क्या हुआ, प्रिपरेशन ऑफ वाइट पेपर ऑन कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल रिफॉर्म्स, ठीक है, एंड वॉज प्रिपेयर्ड एंड सबमिटेड फॉर द कंसिडरेशन ऑफ द. सो ये इनका प्रिपरेशन हुआ, हम वी आर नॉट राइटिंग कि ये किसके लिए कंसिडर किया गया, बिकॉज रिकमेंडेशंस कहाँ इनकॉर्पोरेट हुए ये इंपॉर्टेंट है. सो यू कैन जस्ट राइट कि रिकमेंडेशंस incorporated in GOI Act 1935, of course with certain changes. ये एक इवेंट था, मतलब एक बात थी जो हमें करना था बीच में. Then is the next the communal award. Now again if you have to write about communal award, what happened? So first of all we'll be writing the year. August 1932 में क्या हुआ? There was this person Ramsay MacDonald, who was the British Prime Minister then. He announced a scheme of representation. So basically communal award का description क्या है? That it was a scheme of representation of the minorities which came to be known as the communal award. ठीक है. So you can write like this. I will again have to find the space and I don't know where to go ahead with this. Chalo, I'll shorten it here. कम्यूनल अवार्ड, फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल ये क्या था, इसका डिस्क्रिप्शन दिस यू हैव टू राइट, ठीक है. स्कीम ऑफ रिप्रेजेंटेशन ऑफ माइनॉरिटीज, सो आई एम नॉट राइटिंग, जस्ट राइट इट, स्कीम ऑफ रिप्रेजेंटेशन ऑफ माइनॉरिटीज. देन यू राइट द ईयर August 1932 and of course you have to write the name of the person, Ramsay MacDonald, who was the British PM. ठीक है, ये सारे इंफॉर्मेशन आपने लिख लिया. अब ये क्या बोल रहे हैं, रिप्रेजेंटेशन ऑफ द माइनॉरिटीज. सो दिस कम्युनल अवार्ड नॉट ओनली कंटिन्यूड सेपरेट इलेक्टोरेट्स फॉर द मुस्लिम, सिख्स, इंडियन, क्रिश्चियन, एंग्लो इंडियंस एंड यूरोपियंस, बट इट ऑल्सो एक्सटेंडेड टू द डिप्रेस्ड क्लासेस, और जो शेड्यूल कास्ट है. देखो 1909 से मुस्लिम्स के लिए आया कम्युनल अवार्ड, सिक्स इंडियन, क्रिश्चियन, एंग्लो इंडियंस एंड यूरोपियंस के लिए आया 1919 में, यहाँ आया 1909 में. Now it is telling that it should be there for all the minorities. So therefore इस अवार्ड को इन्होंने, इस कम्युनल अवार्ड से मैकडोनल्ड जो थे उन्होंने क्या करा कि they tried to, or he tried to extend it via this communal award to the depressed classes. ठीक है. So feature और important point में हम लोग लिख सकते हैं extension. अगर आपने ये highlighted वाला line लिखा है, scheme of representation of minorities, so extension of separate electorate for depressed classes or scheduled caste. ठीक है. Now Gandhi ji was distressed over this extension of the principle of communal representation to the depressed classes. Gandhi ji did not agree with this and undertook fast unto death in Yerwada jail, Pune, to get the award modified. So we can write Gandhi ji against sat on fast. ठीक है. So you will say, so fast unto death, ये मतलब उसके implications हैं इस अवार्ड के. और ये डेथ फास्ट कहाँ पे हुआ, यरवदा जेल पुणे में. ठीक है. Now, at last there was an agreement between the leaders of the Congress and the depressed classes, which agreement is called as Pune Pact. तो इस point के बाद what you can write is, इस point के बाद I am just writing here. So agreement हुआ जिसको बोला गया पूना पैक्ट. ये agreement हुआ किसके किसके बीच? Congress leaders. If you have read your modern Indian history, tell me that which personality represented the Congress leaders and went into this talk with Gandhi ji for this agreement, Pune Pact. Leader का नाम बताइएगा. So Congress leaders, and you would say agreement between the leaders of the Congress and the depressed classes. ठीक है. So basically गांधी जी के साथ वो चीज साइन हुई थी, which retained the, तो पूना पैक्ट का जो इन्फ्रेंस मतलब जो रिजल्ट आया, that was आउटकम आया, हिंदू में ज्वाइंट इलेक्टोरेट ही रहेगा. ठीक है. बिकॉज गांधी जी वॉज अगेंस्ट कि अगर आप शेड्यूल्ड कास्ट को भी अलग कर दोगे तो हिंदुइज्म में और झगड़ा जो है बढ़ेगा, मतलब और फूट आएगी. ठीक है. सो देयरफॉर दिस हिंदू ज्वाइंट इलेक्टोरेट वाज रिटेन्ड एंड गेव रिजर्व्ड सीट्स टू द डिप्रेस्ड क्लासेस. So rather than a whole separate electorate, he just said there should be reserved seats for the, so you can write the point, reserved seats to depressed classes. ठीक है. So now next we have to do is 1935 का act and then we have to do 1947 का act. These two will make shorter video only and then we'll just see this chart and whatever is given. So I think I'll be doing that in next video so that this video doesn't become that long. And छोटे छोटे acts हैं, but these are very important. These two, especially the 35 is very important. Therefore I am taking time so that we do it in the next one. Otherwise इतने सारे provincial और central और federal आप पढ़ के बहुत confuse हो जाएंगे. So give yourself time and revise. Continuously revise करो अब तक हमने जो भी sessions किए हैं. ठीक है guys? So I'll be meeting you in another video and do not forget to check all the other videos which have been created by far. I'm really trying my best to be as consistent as I can. अगर पॉलिटी नहीं भी हो रही थी तो बाकी चीज़ों में तो मैं consistently काम कर ही रही थी. So I had not taken a break as such. कभी लाइव सेशन कभी कुछ but किया है काम मैंने. So please appreciate and please help me to move forward. ठीक है. So चलो guys, see you. I'll be meeting you in another video. Take care. Bye bye.